natural rivers, and so it can be quite stressed mentally because you're paddling a part of the river when you know somebody is drowned, or it's the guy in front of you says, if you go there, you will drown, so don't, just go there. And it can be quite tough, but yeah, so far I've been quite lucky not to have any of these injuries or so.
Yeah. And you said it's mentally hard. Do you really think that the mental health is more important sometimes than physical?
Yeah, I believe so, because you can be very well physically prepared, but if you're not fine mentally, you won't be able to perform well. And I think first is to be mentally quite good.
And Anna, how do you keep your mind in the right things and cope with mental health?
Well, that can be a challenge sometimes. If it's just a normal race, you just think how you're gonna do, how you're gonna race, how it's gonna go, and you can go perfectly. But sometimes you're just nervous and everything just won't go like it has to go. But I don't know. I think it's about that you have to be calm when you start. You shouldn't be that nervous. You shouldn't shake at the start because you're that scared of what's gonna happen. And I think the biggest part in the fact in your mental health state is your parents or how your family communicates at home. Because I know some athletes that are gonna get they're gonna get yelled at if they don't do well, and then they just put so much pressure on them, and they're never going to be that good. I had lucky because my parents are really supportive, and they are always going to be like, okay, there's always going to be a next race. Never going to be mad if I don't do well just because I did a mistake.
But do you ever experience pressure from school? Maybe you too, Leonard, because you finished school, but you both go to school, and is there sometimes just so much pressure because of the test that it affects your skills and competitions?
It can be tough. Sometimes it's late nights studying and so, but you always go training. If anything else, you can clear your head and just enjoy the training, and then later you have to study. Yeah.
Okay, so Doman, what would you say is the biggest accomplishment that you've accomplished in this sport of ski jumping?
Tough question, actually. I think I put a lot of on team sports because I think that the team comes together and everybody in the team works well. That's a lot harder to achieve than just one person. Especially in ski jumping, there need to be 16 jumps, all perfect. Everything needs to come together. So I think the team competition in Wickerson, I think that was the best when we won.
How about you, Anna? What is your biggest accomplishment?
Well, I would have to say this year's Loka. It is one of the many important races, international important races, and highly valued in the skiing world. I have watched many today's top skiers compete at that race and bring the medals home. And the fact that I actually won it and that it is the home race that is organized by my skiing club adds value to it as well.
And you, Leonard?
Yeah, my biggest achievement, I think, would be winning the Junior European Championship. It was I couldn't believe it for a week or so, but it was so special especially because it was the first of the major races after the COVID lockdown. It was just dream come true.
And do you find like your sport relaxing, or is it like your mind on the prize, or you just do it because you like it and you're good at it?
I think especially in the when races in the season, it's a lot to looking out for the next race and so. But during the endurance preparation period in the winter, it can be quite relaxing. It's tough, but it's sort of meditation on being on the river.
Okay, Leonard, so how do you see yourself in the future in the sport of kayaking? What are your plans for the future?
Yeah, definitely being able to perform on the highest level, maybe winning some of the biggest competition, that would be quite nice.
And how about you, Anna? What are some of your plans for the future?
In the future, definitely the end goal, I think, for everyone is to get is to be one of the best in the world. But if we go small with this year's, I am going into the peace program, and I just want to get through it, just and get the good starting point for the next season.
Can I ask you a bit more about your diets? Do you have like any diet that your trainer specifically order you before the competition? Maybe the one?
Yeah. Of course we have. I mean, we don't have a specific diet. I tried it for like 2 months, but my head was like totally like when I was in training. I thought about what I will eat after training, so I wasn't focused on training. So like I was fit and everything. Like when we tested, everything worked out, but on the ski jumping hill, I wasn't performing. So now you just like focus like what are the good things that you can eat. You know how much you can eat throughout the day. And yeah, actually, if you put out sugar and a lot of other unhealthy snacks, uh, that's the most work you can do.
Did you ever like were on that limit that you would be maybe too heavy for ski jumping? Because I know that you have some limit, right?
I mean, yes, you have a limit. I mean, you are not limited, and yeah, you will not be allowed to jump. Nobody will say you are not allowed to jump because you're too heavy.
Yeah.
But it affects your performance. That's simply it. But there is a limit actually on the downside because you have the max length of for the skis. Like for me, I have 61 kilograms with equipment, and if I have lower than that, I'm disqualified because my skis are too long.
Okay, so Leonard, how does your typical training session look? How does the kayaking training session of an amateur athlete look?
Well, it depends. Most of the trainings are endurance, long sessions, and so we start first warming up, and we have these different kinds of trainings, long intervals, and so we paddle for hour and a half, and that's most of trainings look like that, but we also include fitness and cycling, swimming, and so in our program.
Do you ever feel like you just don't want to do it, like the day was bad and you feel too lazy and you just want to skip the training sometimes?
I find the hardest part just arriving on training. It's definitely there are those days when you're tired or it's raining and so, but once you actually start, it's fine. Just that period to get yourself started, it's the toughest.
How about you, Anna? How does your training session look?
Well, that depends on the weather, pretty much. If we are on the snow, go out, do a few free rounds, then they pick us slow, put up, and then we just do a training. If it's good, we can do 12, 15, even 20 rounds. If it's bad, we're gonna go down sooner, and it's just gonna be a fitness training. It just really depends on how are the conditions, how is the snow, how tired are we, what discipline there is.
So you're all like choose a sport that you need to be brave. You can't be scared. Do you like this adrenaline? Do you like trying out some more dangerous stuff, Lena?
Yeah, actually, it's quite that adrenaline rush when you can hear your heart pumping. I find it very interesting. It's sometimes after the race you can't even remember because it's just that focus, and it's it's very interesting for me. Yeah.
How about you, Duman, being up in the air?
Uh, yeah, like as weird as it sounds, you get used to it. Like that adrenaline rush that you get from the first jump from on the ski flying hill. It's like on the other level, but that every single jump it's lower, 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 lower. So you need other things to feel that hole. Like then you do a lot of other things that brings adrenaline in. And yeah, I think for every single sport you can find some way, some thing to give you some adrenaline. Even like I think you can even find some adrenaline when you listen to music and when you listen to like everybody know when you listen to new music you really like it, it get you hyped. I think that's sort of adrenaline.
Do you ever listen to music when ski jumping, or that's just distracting?
I think there is no way you can listen to music or I mean it's too dangerous. If you would fall and if you would have something in your ears, that would probably hurt you a lot.
How about you, Lena? Do you listen to any music for better focusing, maybe on the trainings?
Sometimes, yeah, when we have preparations in the sea with this long endurance training, we paddle for I don't know 3 hours or so. It's fun when some of the guys have speakers and we have music.
So Anna, how do you feel dealing with journalists, with press? Did you ever had that experience that you had to maybe speak for the national television or something similar to that?
I have never had a problem with stage fright. I did have to speak for international television once when, I don't know, a lot of years ago. But when I have to speak in front of people, it's never really been a problem. Of course, you're a bit nervous, but I don't know. You just go there, you talk what you think, and it usually goes well.
How about you, Doman? I know you're on a professional level, so you probably have to do a lot more of that dealing with press. So how do you deal with it?
They, you just go with it. You just go there and speaks for yourself and just answer the question. That's simply it. A lot of people think that we have preparation for that, how you will speak, how you will perform in public speaking. But I think if you try and trade that, you will not be yourself anymore.
I mean, you all still have some free time. You said you like to play guitar sometimes. What about you, Doman, besides wrestling?
I like to walk in nature, go for a run. I also like just one stuff that I started this spring is jumping from aeroplane with a parachute. Then one thing that is still from my childhood is kind of geek, so a lot of my free time is spent on PC.
Okay, so that was everything from our side. Now we turn to you guys, to the audience. Do you have any questions you wanna ask those athletes? And if yes, just raise your hand and we'll give you the microphone.
Yes, there's a hand right there.
Someone will bring it to you, so it might take a couple of minutes.
The question is, how was the preparation during the COVID period?
Okay. Yeah, we did a lot of training at home. Luckily, I'm in that kind of sport when there's not many people around me, so I was able to train pretty much normally and fitness and running. So I was doing at home.
Yeah, for me the season was unfortunately ended the beginning of March. So we went back home and the whole March was just like waiting what will happen. And then from April to May, we actually kind of get on with it normally because we are allowed to actually by our country to just travel around and we get special permissions to go around and train normally as we used to.
And Anna?
For me, it was just the end of the season. So skiing, of course, I missed it, but it wasn't that much of a problem because only a few races were cancelled. But when we were at home, I did mostly fitness trainings. We did that a lot. And then when they finally opened everything, even if you could go out, the ski clubs there were no snow left, or they were closed. So that was a bit of a problem. But then we walked a few. We put this on our shoulders and we went. There was snow and we were walking up and down, up and down.
So, any other questions?
Yeah.
Who are your favorite athletes?
Well, there's a kayaker, Slovenian kayaker, Nate Šimberšič. He's not so known maybe, but he's like, I think, my main role model. He just this spring just won his 6th individual world title, and I'm amazed by the passion this guy has and the love for the sport. And yeah, I think that's my guy.
Yeah, for me it's Luka Doncic because I really like his style. Like I know how hard it is to make things look simple. I think that's the hardest things, and to make things that that are really hard to look simple. I think that's the hardest thing in every sport. And he do it in a way that like nobody thinks that he's trying it hard. Everybody thinks that he's just enjoying the game and playing it there as he would be a kid. But I know there is a lot of hard work back there, and there is. When I spoke to him, there is really special plan how he will do through the season, and he doesn't have only one plan. He have like, if you do this and things go this way, every single path is laid before him. So I think after all of this preparation and everything, to still look like he's just playing that's really amazing.
How about you, Anna?
Me, I would choose Alexander Motile, the downhiller. It just amazes me how crazy they have to be to actually go down the steepest slopes. But for the other sports, I don't know if I could choose just one out of these sports, but one of, but I don't know. I can't really choose one anymore.
Okay, any other questions?
Yes, I have one more. Do you have any advice for us that you learned through your sport, maybe?
Um, I think the most important thing is to find your passion. Don't really care about things. I mean, you think that things that are happening to you now are the most important things, but when you go on with life, you find out that there are a lot of more important things coming up to you, and you never know all the things. And yeah, and I think like the point when you find out uh, enough things that you know you will never know all of the things is the hardest point.
Um, yeah, for perhaps advice in sports, I just say that to find the one that you truly love. Um, and if you do one sport with passion and looking for results, I think results will come automatically. It's that if you like going, if you like training, and that's it, then you find the one.
If even in sports or even in school or in life generally, if you set your mind to it, you can actually do it. Even if you don't make it the first time, there's always gonna be fails. You're always gonna do something wrong, but over time, something's gonna come together like you want to, and you can. If you can actually do it, just maybe it's gonna take some time.
So I wanted to ask, what are your plans after you retire from professional sports, like family and work-wise?
Okay, so I'm not actually building a retirement plan yet. But when it comes to it, I'm firstly glad to get a good school done and maybe later get a job or so. We're not there yet.
For me, I actually know exactly what I will do after I retire. I will be a programmer and yeah, do in free time I will be a base jumper. That's the thing I know now. I know things will probably change in the future, but if you ask me now, it's that's my answer.
Well, right now, I don't know. I still have 3 more years of high school, and I don't know exactly what college I'm gonna go into. I just know that when I retire, I want to have a school finished, and we'll go from there on.
What would you recommend to someone that found a sport that they are passionate about, but they don't really have the possibilities to do it? Like the closest place where you can practice it, like more professionally, is 4 hours away.
Yeah, that's actually really tough. I think the only option is to move there. Like in our sport, there is actually a case where a lot of people from other areas from Slovenia need to move to this part, like we call it Gorenjska Hinoj, and the people that are from around Maribor area, they actually need to move there. I know it's hard for them, and I know a lot of good ski jumpers are like when they come to this area, they meet new people, and the middle school happens, and there is a lot of good jumpers don't really make it. They rather go on and drink alcohol, and we know how things turn out after that. And so I actually it's for me that's actually really tough. Like you need to move to other place, and at your age, like think your life will fall apart if you move to other place. But if you really want to make some changes in your life, I think, and you think it's the right thing to do, I think you should do it.
Yeah, it is a tough question, and the problem I see this with some guys in our sport too. When clubs and courses aren't as close, and they either come to the capital, to Ljubljana, to attend college or so, and they get the possibility to train at the same time. But I think that if you have that problem, some people I see that do a lot of improvised training at home, sort of fitness, and so they are physically well prepared, and they just come to courses and to clubs during the season and train with us. And so, I hope that answers your question.
Can someone just repeat the question? I didn't hear it there.
What would you advise to someone who wants to do with professional sport but hasn't had the possibilities to do it?
That's hard. I can't really say much because in my sport it has come so far that if you don't start at a really young age, like the maximum age you can start to really succeed, or to have better options to succeed is like 8 or 9 years old. Anything later is just a bit too late because you miss out on so much. I mean, of course you can do it, but if you, I don't know, start training when you start high school, it really probably won't go through because you just don't have that first steps in the sport. So I don't know, if you really set your mind to it, maybe you can do it, but it's gonna be hard. But in college, I don't think you have any chance to actually make it. If you start when you're like 18, 19, that's when the best skiers are already at the top or close to the top. And I don't know, I don't think there's really much of a chance that you can make to the top.
So do you have time for love?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the short question, but I will answer it extensively. I think like everybody needs love, and that's the part of what makes us human. And I think it's the power that, for me, it's something that empowers me, and I really like that I have someone at home that I know will wait for me, will passionately cheer for me, and it's yeah, of course we have time for love.
There is always time for someone you care about to actually talk to them.